I will say, while we wait, I really like casting tier 3 the most, I think.
Tier 3 is fun because it's sort of a wild card.
Right. I like the Wild West unpredictability of tier 3.
Indeed. You can find like players nailing down their builds and doing everything correct. And just wondering why they're tier 3, and then at the same time you can see other players going for some really funky builds and or unoptimized strategies. And I have my favorite in tier 3, by the way. But he's not from Passion Daddies, unfortunately. Do you remember the Terran that went bio drops on Overwatch?
No. Was there a game like that?
Yeah, so I might have cast it with someone else, but there's a player called Borisu, and he is.
Oh, I know Boris. Yeah.
Okay, it seems like we are gonna see some Danant games now.
All
just
right.
created the game. Danant versus Twihi, or I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. Score will be 0-0. And you can go ahead with the game. So to Giorgino in the chat, at least there's no Protoss this time in the game, so you will not see Protoss dying. Okay, so wait, what map are they playing? Oh, that was right. That
I
is,
believe this is
that's
Fighting
before.
Spirit.
Yeah, because I was expecting to see Bloody Rage.
Yeah, different week.
Yeah,
Different week.
that makes sense. Okay, so we've got Danant here is spawning as the blue Terran, fighting for Team Passion Daddies, and Twihi spawning in purple, fighting for Team Operation Indecision. That was it.
So I will say, Operation Indecision ended up with a really cool team name after not being able to decide on their team name for forever, I guess.
Yep, I agree with that. I also like socializing out there, especially with that quarantine right now.
Yeah, it seems suddenly very, very relevant.
Very accurate. Yeah. Okay, so both players playing standard so far.
Yeah, it
Or
looks like a 12 hatch preserve.
Yeah, and against, correct me if I'm wrong, but against Terran, I think so. Actually, safe, quote unquote.
Yeah, unless, well, there's 8 racks and PBS, but I think 95% of the time, 12 hatches, pretty standard against Terran.
Yeah, Terrans cannot really build cannons behind your mirrors.
Yeah, instead they just build a bunker right in front of you, right in front of your face, you know?
Yeah, but I've seen many Zergs denying that with a drone pull, and the annoying thing about cannon rush is that you cannot
right.
get your drones. Okay, a very fast expansion also from the Terran. I'm not sure if it was
it's
a response.
16 CC?
Yeah, that was 16 CC.
Yeah. So really smart. Terran gets the first scout off, sees the 12 hatch, and doesn't make a Marine, and goes for the fast command center. So feeling good about the opening on the Terran side.
As saying, is this tier 3 week 5? It is tier 3 week 4, and I did not update the title. But we'll cast week 5 as well at some point.
Yeah, tier 3 week 4.
But if you stay on the stream, we will cast your games after this series, I've said. Okay, I like what the turn is doing so far.
So we see a 2 hatch build coming in from Twee.
Yeah, but what's up with these 3 overlords? I guess he really does not want to get supply blocked.
Yeah, I think maybe he meant to just select 1 larva, and so sometimes it's an easy mistake to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Starcraft 2 is easier for Zerg.
Oh, so sorry. Actually, it's a 3 hatchery play.
Yeah, and the third hatch is
from Twee.
Let's see if he's gonna deny any scouting.
So an interesting SimCity from Danant here, with the bunker very far back and the supply depot behind the bunker.
Yeah, I think if the supply and the bunker were switched, it will be better because you're limiting the surface area that the links can get. There's 2 Zerglings on the high ground watching that SCV attacking the hatchery.
They know the hatchery is safe. I mean.
And Tweehy really needs to start mining gas from his second hatch if he wants to that Mutiferous.
So we see Terran here going for a 2 racket CAD build, and which is standard against 2 hatchery play, but against 3 hatchery play, I think 2 Rexicad is not as good. And the standard response to 3 hatch play is the +1/5 Rex, but Tweehy's 3rd hatchery was late, so I think maybe Danant, the Terran here, was possibly thrown off by that. Yep, Spire's coming in for Twee, so it looks like it's a pretty standard 3 hatch Muta play. A lot of Lings being made, actually.
Yeah, and I think he just delayed Tweehy, just delayed everything a bit, so he will have enough gas to do his mutas. But we see that Terran's already going across the map. And now killing his own bunker. Why is that? Oh, I know. It's blocking the.
Oh, it's blocking
comsat.
the comsat scanner.
Alright, we got this.
Okay. Alright,
no,
and yeah, Stims in.
there are no Sunkens, and that looks dicey.
Oh, and the Lings don't even get a single Marine, and I think that might be it.
I think so.
Mutas are almost going to start, but Spire will complete. But it looks like it's a little bit too late. Takes out the natural, Stims up. Oh no, shooting down some overlords. luckily Tweety made a lot of overlords, so he's not supply blocked yet.
Yeah, these 3 overlords are now paying off, but he's trying to make sunken colonies inside of his main right now, but I think that's a bit too
Yeah,
late.
never a good situation to be in.
Yeah. And there are some mutilates, but mutilates are the last thing you want right now.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah, it's really tough to micro in this situation. There's very little space, and there's the GG.
So Tweety, I think just his build order was not really polished.
Mm-hmm.
With a bit of a better build order, I think he can.
Yeah, in general, the right before Mutas pop is always the most dangerous time for Zerg, and I've definitely lost a lot of games in a similar sort of fashion where if I could have just survived for like 10 more seconds, I would have had Mutas and I could have been okay.
Yeah, you also can't really leave overlords on the way to scout because Marines can shoot your overlords.
Right.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only way to check that is to leave a link on the attack path and then build some creep colonies to then start morphing into Sunkens if you see the Terrans moving out.
Yeah. So on Fighting Spirit, actually, you can have an overlord outside of the Terran's natural. In that small water area, and it's pretty safe. And obviously, you should also have links outside the Terran base. But we'll see what happens here in game 2. You have Twee spawning in the top left, playing for Operation Indecision, and Danant in the blue Terran in the bottom right, playing for Passion Daddies.
Right. And what do you think of in the wave on Eddie?
So with Eddie, it's strange because mutas are not as good on Eddie, but as a trade-off, early aggression from the Zerg is very powerful because of the low ground mains. It's very difficult for Terran to hold some kind of early Ling run by or early aggression in general.
What about a lurker thing? Or a guardian rush?
Yeah. I mean, I personally am not a big fan of Eddie because a lot of Terrans like to just cheese on this map because of the possibility of early Ling aggression. I think there's a lot of 8 racks play and a lot of bunker rushing on this map. And I also see some in-base 2 racks pushes. In general, I think this map for TBZ usually ends up kind of determined by the early game. But we see a pretty standard opening from both sides.
Yep, so far all standard. We had a 12 hatch again from Tweety.
And Danant going for the safer, probably 18cc? 18 or 19cc here, probably.
Yeah, last time he did not make any Marines. And got his CC, and now maybe it's a bit of a reaction to the map.
And also, Danant hasn't scouted the Zerg yet, so I think it's totally correct to go for a 19cc.
Yep, 19cc.
And
it is.
We see a 3 hatch coming in from Twee.
Yeah, again, an in-base hatchery. Not quite sure.
Yeah, build is looking a lot better for Twee this time around. I like the 3rd hatch timing.
Yeah, and in general, he's doing way better job with his macro this game.
Oh, Twee really upset about that SCV. pulls 2 drones to kill it. Gets a lot of damage on it, actually. It's going to be a lot easier for the 2 Lings to eventually cut the SCV down now. Cast coming in at 15 for Tree, and Danon's no bunker yet, but I don't know how I feel about that supply depot placement. It does prevent a run by, but your bunker is much more exposed in this position.
Yep.
But yeah, you can wall pretty well here with command bunker supply. But it looks like you should be fine. No signs of aggression from either side. Danon's looking at another 2 racks of CAD, probably.
They're saying in the chat that possibly not all the games that were claimed from the casters were casted. I know Sad Zero was meant to do a lot of tier 3 casting and he was sick at some point, so maybe that's it. But I'll need to check with him.
Well, I think claimed just means that they will be cast in the future, right?
Usually how the caster timetable works is you claim a specific tier and a series from like one of the teams, Passion Daddies versus Socialite Hellscale, for example, and then you say what time your cast will air. So we had the time where the cast should have been, but
I see.
I know again that Sad Zero was sick at some point, so he did not cast sound against maybe that one. I need to check with him.
So Danon's scouting SCV was cut down here, but he did manage to see the double sunken going up and the lair going. So I actually think Danon should not move out with this 2 racks of CAD. 1, because it's cross position, which is already kind of dangerous, and 2, because we already saw the double sunken. So I think Danon should just sit back and wait.
Yep, I agree. But also I want to see Danon adding 2 more axes and possibly an engineering bay, because he currently has a lot of resources. Okay, so
yeah, when you're floating a lot, it's always good to just add more production buildings, regardless of build order or whatever your original plan was. I think that's one of the things I struggle with a lot. Is I kind of have this idea of like a for example like a 3-hatch muta, and if something goes weird in the early game and I'm floating like 1,000 minerals, I should probably just put down a 4th hatchery, but because the build is called 3-hatch muta, I feel like, well, I have 3 hatcheries, so
yeah,
good to go.
That's why most of the time when I'm doing some builds, I go for the opening and then I don't really care what's happening in the build in the mid game, because I always freeze down from that point.
Right. All right, and we have 8 mutas in production from Tui. So this is feeling pretty good as the Zerg. I think you got your mutas out. The Terran is locked in his base, and the mutas are going to be up in time to do what mutas do, and we'll get to see some muta micro. And Tui actually going for +1 air attack, which is nowadays really considered risky, and it's really betting it on your muta micro.
Yeah, it's the more
significant damage.
It's the more all-any type of upgrade that you can get. Most of the time when I see +1 attack, it means that the Zerg player will try to end it with the mutas.
Yeah, so
or will do
+1
a
attack,
guardian.
you're trying to end it right as the first science vessel comes out. Or alternatively, you're trying to delay the starport and science facility. And Donut actually has no turrets, despite his eBay being done for a long time.
Yep, Muta Micro not looking great, but...
Mutas are not stacked yet. Oh man, and all the lings get melted there.
And Muta's not really focus firing any SCVs.
Oh, and now the Mutas are stacking up. So losing all the lings is super dangerous here now, because now Twee has no vision of the Terran moving out. And although Terran still has no turrets, which is bold.
Yep. Going also for 2 control towers on the starport, so will be quite a lot of science facilities, science vessels.
Yeah, so Danon's going into a SK Terran style build, and we see the science facility halfway done. And if Twee really wants to make Mutas work, he really has to find where the science facility is and try to delay that, because once the first vessel is out, your Muta push is really sort of nullified.
Yeah, and we can see that trying to micro the Mutas is definitely taking its toll, because Twee is now floating 2,000 minerals and 1,000 gas.
Yeah, always the toughest part of playing any Muta build is macroing while you're microing Mutas.
Yeah.
Mutas are going in, but Hunt is already at Twee's base.
Science vessel production just started right now, but yeah, as you said, that they're an easy cross the map.
So Muta's doing big damage, but I think Danan can end it with this push. It doesn't look like there's anything back at home.
Yeah, if he continues macroing and he had a lurker or 2 right now, it will be a completely different story.
Yeah, but Danan with no turrets though, the Mutas are doing huge damage in the Terran main.
They are on top of the production facilities.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I mean, one thing Twee has going for him is he has a huge bank, so he might be able to come back.
Yeah.
Sunken colony being built.
It's really dicey. Yeah, I think it all comes down to not macroing while doing the initial harass. But otherwise it looks very close.
Yeah, I think Twee should just pull his Mutas back and clean out this push, because he already got so many SCV kills. He even got the command center at the Terran main base, so...
Yeah, definitely no reason to overstay his welcome right now. But he's down to 6 drones.
Wow, and the Mutas even get the science facility, which I guess, yeah, having lost almost every drone, possibly not worth the bet. So it looks like Twee going to try to make a hold at his 3rd base, while Danant is holding at his natural.
Yeah, I think all these creep colonies... Oh, he left the spawning pool, so he's able to morph into seconds.
Yeah, so yeah, leaving the spawning pool I think is a big mistake here, because that should probably be the first building you try to kill.
Yep. If he had saved a bit of his drones, or pulled back his mutas from the Terran's main base earlier, I think he had a good chance to at least prolong this game. I can't really say take it, but had a good chance of managing to hold off the push.
Yeah, So
But
this is smart from Twee going for a double hidden expansion.
Yeah.
I'm just oh man, Twee just doesn't have any workers. He only has 3 drones. It's less than the beginning of the game. And he also has no tech, he has no lair, obviously no spire. He still does have 6 mutas, which can one-shot a marine, so it is micro-able.
Yeah, but these 6 mutas, in my opinion, should really stay home.
Well, I think the 4 Sunkens is going to be really hard to break, especially with that small choke point there.
He might be able to pick off that factory. But at this point, Terran doesn't really care about the factory.
Right. He already has 2 starports, and we see Danan going for drops, which I think is super smart here, because trying to hit those 4 Sunkens, I think, is never going to be cost efficient. You can there's plenty of room in the back of the base to drop. Danan going for a 3rd base as well, so this is going to somewhat nullify the hidden expansions of the Zerg if you can get the 3rd base up and running. Oh, good reaction from Twee to immediately scout and force the lift.
And Twee does have the 3 hidden expansions already up, but he's not really macroing from them.
I do like that Twee is going for lurker tech, which in the situation where you're trying to hide bases, I think lurkers are definitely the right choice. You can just pick a ramp and throw some lurkers on top. Zerg is still only on 7 drones. It's going to be really tough to come back. He is consistently denying the 3rd base for the Terran. But because the Terran main was actually destroyed once, there's still plenty of minerals left, actually, at the main.
Yeah, he is upgrading finally that lurker aspect, but it will be not on time for these drops.
So there is very little space back there, so if you have your lings underneath the dropships, the Terran actually should not be able to drop. And there is 1 Scourge, which could also help. Splitting up the dropships here, which I think might be a little bit overkill to try to kill the proxy bases, because there's nothing really defending those. I think you could just send like 2-3 Marines.
Yep.
Although actually no, with the mutas out, I think never mind. I like the split.
I'm a bit confused about that drop that is close to the lair. And just drop that the other choke. I think it would be way better to drop somewhere near the minerals, outside the sticky range.
Yeah, the upgrade difference now is really showing these lings just aren't able to make a dent in the marine ball. It looks like Donut is going to try to attack. He's going to attack into that little choke, and the lurkers just pop just in time.
I think with the lurkers,
this could actually be a disaster. Alright, and Twee manages to hold. Wow, so actually, Twee, with that bank he had, is actually able to make, I think, 9 total lurkers, which is not a small amount of lurkers, and I might actually be able to do a lot of damage with these lurkers.
Yeah, but vessels are already out.
Mm-hmm.
So these lurkers are, even though they were very good for that one defense, they are becoming less and less effective.
Mm-hmm. Twee has 6 lurkers at his I want to say third base. I'm not sure what to call these bases, but he could surround the Terran army right now, and there's definitely not enough Marines to combat 9 lurkers, even with the 2 irradiates.
He did try to scourge the dropships.
Mm-hmm.
Now that the 3 lurkers need to really reposition.
Reposition, yeah, protect. Oh, there he goes.
Sleepfrogging
okay.
there.
One more time.
1 inch at a
Almost
time.
there.
The hatchery is almost down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Lings come out though, which could help.
Think he'll manage to save the hatch?
I think Twee's got the defense here. But he's just not able to mine, which is
I mean,
most
he
important
can move the lurkers a bit and then he will be able to.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like Danan is just backing off.
Yeah. Alright, and Twee holds his base. I still don't know what to call that base.
Well, if you call the base with the layer on it, his first base or his main base,
okay.
Then whatever he was just attacking right now could be the second base.
Second base, yeah. Okay, I like it.
Third base.
So at the first base of Twee, all the lurkers were irradiated, and this could be dangerous because there's no defense here. Well, there's 3 Sunkens in a really good position, but
yeah, if Dalant wants to try and attack again, he irradiated the Overlord. I think going for an eraser here would be way better. Okay,
Dalan's gonna try again to break the Sunken line.
I want to see a lurker being morphed in that very tight choke. It's gonna be so clutch, but no, he's not doing that with the hat.
Yeah, it's just so hard to go through this choke point and fight these sunken colonies. I mean, you see the AI, Danat is actually going to drop on top of the Sunkens to try to get around.
Yeah, but he's dropping an army of medics.
He's only dropping medics though. Oh, but he makes it. He makes it across. He makes it through.
Oh, there are 2 Marines with these medics.
And I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be game.
Yeah,
Danat finally manages to break through
to his main base.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, to his
and there's the GG.
For as long as I can.
Well played, well played.
So Danan managing to take it 2-0. Well done.
Yeah.
So we do only have time for 1 more series before I need to go, and I'm gonna cast Evzek series because he's in the chat.
Alright.
So we have a TVP now.
TVP.
It's score while we join. It is Evzek versus another 2. Oh, I know another 2. I don't know why. I know him for some reason.
Oh, you don't know Epsa, your teammate?
I know Evzek. I mean, I put him on the roster to play every week.
Right.
In our tier 3, we have many veterans.
Okay, so this is the second series of week 4, right?
Yep, week 4. Tier 3.
4 tier 3. Yeah. And we have EFSA spawning in the top left and another 2 in the bottom left. Another 2 playing for Operation Indecision.
Operation
right?
Indecision, yeah. Right.
And EFSA playing for Passion Daddies.
So EFSA in the chat reminding me where I know another 2 from. I casted the tier 3 games from week 1, and it was EFSA versus another 2, in fact.
Oh.
So it is a rematch from week 1.
A rematch? I haven't gotten to have a rematch yet, and I'm a little sad about that. I think a rematch would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was supposed to have a rematch this week, but I told you what happened. That would be unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. So the tricky thing with the rematch is, since you already know each other's styles a little bit, it will come down to, did you prepare to sort of blind counter that style? Or are you just coming back with the same style but stronger?
Well, I think so. If who was I supposed to play against? I think let me check. Was supposed to play Gometas. So if he's in the stream, please do not listen for the next 2 minutes. But actually, what you just said is valid for almost any rematch, but not for this one, because like the first time that we played, I played super aggressively, which is not usually my style.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of hoping that if I get a rematch against him, he will practice against very aggressive builds, and then I'll go into my usual one, which is like very long micro games.
Yeah, I think the whole sort of match system and the games being cast thing is really good for just learning different styles and having to adapt to different styles. And I think it's really good for learning, because on ladder, I think it's easy to sort of tunnel in onto like 1 or 2 builds and you just kind of grind it out.
Yeah, I actually use ladder exactly as my practice playground. So if I really want to learn one build and one build only for one matchup, I do that, because like the players that you get on ladder are so varied that chances are most of the time you will not face the same player twice. Especially if you are playing from Asia. So you are very lucky, Douglas.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you can just do your one build until you nail it. And you can see many responses from many different players to that.
Mm-hmm. So, never mind. EFSA does manage to get the SCV in. The probe was denied on EFSA's base.
Yeah, and
but the probe did see the Marine, so...
SCV got into the main, but it did not manage to see that the cyber core anywhere, and it did not see that the cyber core is upgrading, so it's like still playing in the dark. And also what's I think bigger is that EFSA did not see an expansion going on. And a tip for EFSA for TVP, you can tell if the Protoss player is doing some sort of a cheese or in one base all in by scouting their base at exactly that time. So at 420 you want to see their natural, and if there is an expansion over there, they are doing a safe build. So 420 is the latest that they'll go. So if they're doing 1 gate, 1 robo and expands, that will be 420. If they're doing 21 nexus, it will be slightly earlier, and 28 nexus, it will be slightly earlier, and if they're doing 21 nexus, it will be way earlier than that. But basically 420 is the latest that you need to scout.
Yeah. Have you had situations where the other player's build was a little late and you sort of mind game yourself?
Oh yes, many times.
So I can't speak for TVP, but in TVZ, the timing of the Terran command center is so important to tell if it's going to be like a wraith attack or like a vulture run by or bio play. And there are definitely times where the Terran build was just a little off, and I mind gamed myself into thinking like a wraith is coming, but actually the Terran just likes to fly block himself at 16 or something.
Yeah, there's that, but it's actually the Terran that needs to scout the Protoss command center timing, Protoss base timing in this matchup.
Right.
Like for Protoss, there are other tells that can tell you whether Terran is or is not going for a one-base play, but it's usually a bit harder to tell. All that Terran needs to do is hide an ICV on the map and go to the natural at 420. Because realistically, yes, you can mind game yourself as a Terran player. You think that the Protoss is doing one-base cheese, but honestly, if they don't have their second Nexus up by 420, you can pretty much play however you like from one base, and then you'll still manage to beat them.
Oh, and EFSA manages to get one vulture in, but is immediately picked off. I really like the wall from another two here, even though the one vulture did sneak by. I mean, I do like I love the wall, where with one Dragoon you can block.
That is a good wall.
And this is actually looking like a very standard game. I believe this was Factory Expand and against Dragoon Range Expand.
Yeah, Bunker and now that turret are in a bit of a funny position.
A little forward.
Because like what's really strong on Fighting Spirit, if you're a Terran player, you can place your barracks and then your engineering bay near the bridge, and then the Zealots and Dragoons can't really walk in, and so you only have one choke at your third base that you need to defend. Right.
Yeah, the bridge is always tough.
We've got someone in the chat asking why are we not doing live casts. Well, that would be tricky, especially with CPL, because it's an international league. So having all the players and the casters being up at the same time is already difficult enough. And on top of that, me and Ugnas are currently in Asia, and Evzak is in the States. Another two, I believe, is European. So if we did that, it would be probably turn 8 extra high, and everyone will be annoyed.
It'd be a very international game on 3 continents.
Yep.
There are live cast events. There's the Extinction show match, which has just started. There's the Masterclass series, the Apocalypse series. These are all really cool names now that I think about it. It sounds very exciting.
Yeah, the Masterclass are, if you're new to Starcraft, the Masterclass are the best because like you see a lot of analysis going on. But what Least and Strom are doing, was that the Apocalypse series?
Yeah, the Apocalypse series.
Yeah, they're also doing live casts, and that is just some, most of the time, high level play being live casted, live streamed from Least and Strom.
Yeah. So one quick thing I want to shout out, some nice mine micro, vulture mine micro at the 12 o'clock base from EFSA, managing to take out a Dragoon and salvaging both his vultures actually afterwards too.
Yeah, and there's a vulture at the third base.
Yeah,
so,
nice scouting, good map presence there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the pylon wall from another two seems a bit funny, and Evzak has the potential to do a lot of damage, especially if he pays attention to the vulture, but that is already good, that what he did. And
yeah, I really like the another two's wall at his mat, and I wish he would also wall off his third base in a similar fashion.
yeah, there is a simple sort of way that you can wall this third base, but I like many Protoss players try to avoid expanding towards the Terran in this matchup.
Right.
Because then the Terran with their first deadly push can attack your third base and your main base at the same time.
Totally agree.
While I get that, I am sort of actually a fan of expanding towards the Terran player.
Towards the Terran player, you're a madman.
Yeah, the thing is, well, I only do that if I am able to sneak the third base extremely early. And the reason why I do that is, yes, I am aware that most of the time this base will die, and sometimes I don't even try to defend it. But if I manage to get it very early, I suck out all the minerals that are close to the Terran, and when it comes to the much later game, the Terran will try to expand at that location.
Right.
And all the minerals that you stole from them essentially are gonna help you later on.
Sort of a thief's strategy going on here. So you
Refugee Toss. Refugee Toss has its full potential.
Right. So we see another two going for a fourth base here, and a nice pylon wall on this base, and FSA is going for a third, which is looking pretty well defended. The +1 attack did come in from Terran, and I would like to see +2 attack started.
Yeah, and if you remember the series that we cast earlier with Father versus Narsil, he was going for a third base and he was going for tech, which was not the perfect decision in that situation, but well, I don't know how another two managed to sense that, or if he was just lucky, but in this situation, because FSAC was going for 3 factories and then starport and science facility, so going for the upgrades. Going for third base and old tech was actually the correct decision right now.
Correct decision, yeah.
And
I like the response here.
Yeah, and you can see that it's already paying off, because I told you in that previous series, if you do that, you will be very ahead, and you can see that he's already 30 supply up.
Yeah, I really like another two's position here. His first Arbiter is coming out, and he's getting a lot of gateways, going up to 8, I believe. I think he could have a lot more, actually. I think off 4 base, you could easily have like 12 gateways.
Yes, but here currently what he's doing with 8 gateways in his main, that's actually okay, as long as he now adds like 4 or 5 more.
Right. There's a Vulture Drop coming in the main. Vulture Drop coming in, and another two is responding.
So he's pulling the
probes.
So he's not pulling the probes away from the vultures.
Well, the vultures are distracted anyway.
Yeah. So if you shift click all the probes, that is very good for the vultures. You do a lot of damage. So
yeah, overall, not bad.
Not a bad drop, yeah. And also, while another two was pulling his probes, he accidentally hopped one of them behind the minerals.
Oh yeah. It's okay. The minerals will mine out really soon, and then they'll be unleashed.
The third base seems like the one vulture run by that FSAC did at some point is still causing a lot of havoc, because there's 5 probes that are not mining at all.
Yeah.
And there's just no upgrade saturation in general in the third base.
Nice saturation at the 4th base, though.
Yep, 4th is very well saturated. And yeah, he's starting to add to these gateways at the other main, which is the correct decision.
So the Terran +2 attack is about to finish, and it looks like he's going to maybe move out with that timing. slowly gearing up. Another 2 does have his Arbiter ready, with enough energy for a stasis.
Yeah, it's a bit late on his +1 armor. But overall, very scary army, and
yeah. It's basically maxed out Terran army with 2-1. Well, almost 2-1. And it's going to be really hard to hold against this.
So let's see how the Vulture micro is. So at this point, another 2 sees that as this trying to move out. There's 5 Zealots that just picked up a Zealot. So that was good. But, so I know, especially in tier 3, like engaging a Terran army as a Protoss is really tricky. Especially for tier 3, I think that's even...
I think for anybody, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, and here's the engage, stasis field. Oh, incredible
that was
stasis.
a huge stasis.
I mean... Yeah, such a good stasis.
I think I've still got this.
Yeah, that's a... I think another 2 should just back off here. I don't know. I don't think he needs to commit this hard.
Yep, agreed.
He has a lot of gateways. He has a really good economy. He can just make a round of Zealots. Oh, but sick defense matrices though. Really getting that value out of the tanks.
Yeah. So usually the first battle you always lose as a Protoss. Like you can't really combat their first army.
You're just grinding it down.
Yeah, he did a lot of damage though.
Yeah. I think if another 2 just backed off after he lost all his Zealots, I think I would have liked another 2's position, but here, losing all the Dragoons, it's going to be tough, I think, to hold.
Correct. And the other thing that I was about to say with engaging a Terran army, as a Protoss, you really need to set up for a flank. Like, you need to come from 2, maybe possibly 3 sides.
Yeah, the unit ratio just isn't here now for another 2. It's Zealots going in and then Dragoons going in, and it's just so hard to engage the Terran army, especially with upgrades.
His attacks are not really synced. And if he had flanked the Terran army closer to the bridge, he'll be able to then re-macro and have another army ready to throw down at the
Right. Yeah, it's just so hard to engage the Terran backfall.
Yes. And now, as a sieging the Natural Witch, which is very bad for another 2, although he does have the 4th and the 5th base set up.
Right. And I like that another 2 threw down all these gateways at his 5th base, because honestly, I think another 2 could lose his main and still be in the game. I mean, he's taking a 7th base, and...
Yeah, that is... Okay, so if he decides
when he passed out.
That used to happen a lot to me also when I was playing PvT, and I didn't really know the matchup. But exactly what you're saying is valid. You can lose your main base and then you can still win the game.
Yeah.
You just need to rebuild all your tech at your 5th base and keep expanding. Basically, keep expanding, keep macroing, and try to weather down the Terran army as much as possible. Right.
Oh man, I'm kind of sad that game ended. Like, what a sick stasis field though. That was like the greatest stasis field I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, I was sure
like 4
because
tanks, 3 vultures, and 2 Goliaths in one stasis field.
Yeah, well, because of the way that another 2 engaged the Terran army, I was sure that it was not gonna work and Essex was gonna crush this. But then that 6 stasis made me rethink twice. It was like just because of that 1 stasis, it was almost as good as if he had flanks. But yeah, mainly the 2 main mistakes, or 3 main mistakes that another 2 did there were not flanking the army, 1, not pulling off after all the Zealots died, So he had enough Dragoons, as you say. If he backed off at that point and macroed some else, he had a very good chance. And then leaving the game a bit too early. But as a Protoss player, it's very soul-crushing to have your natural being sieged.
I agree.
And yes, even though I know the frustration that another two did experience at that point, and it's really hard to tell when the game is really over or when the Terran is just doing their one push. But another two there left the game a bit earlier, and he could have kept macroing from his other bases and then won the game because was realistically only on 3 bases.
All right, let's start up game 2.
Yep.
So what's interesting about the whole like losing your main base thing is that a lot of Zerg guides on facing mech will tell you too that you expect to lose your natural and your main base at some point, and you lock the Terran army in your main base once they go for a push, and then you can contain the Terran mech ball and just backstab the Terran base and win the game that way. And I've won a lot of games going for that style.
Yeah, correct. That
Terrans,
is basically
they sense blood in the water when they get close to your main, and they just can't resist. They go up into your main base, and then they're just stuck there for the rest of the game.
Sure, that is how you play against mech. That's correct. I was just saying these defense matrices were second one the engagement. While the defense matrix definitely helped for your 1 or 2 tanks to not be killed, and they soaked up a lot of damage, because of the way that another 2 engaged, he was gonna lose that anyway. But yes, definitely these defense matrices saved a lot of tanks.
Yeah, I agree. There were like 4 or 5 defense matrices at the end of that fight.
I think I saw 3, but yeah, maybe he killed 1 or 2. But yeah, the map is in the wave 180 right now. We've got Evza spawning in the bottom left and Thunder 2 spawning in the bottom right. Score is 1-0, so let me update the score now in favor of Evza. And Evza now has the potential to close out the series and win the game. I wonder, when you're saying that the Zerg versus mech builds, I wonder if most of the theory and the knowledge that Zerg players are now starting to gather for playing versus mech come from the PvT. Because like Protoss have been facing mech for such a long time. But also,
right.
I think Terrans are a bit inexperienced playing mech versus Zerg, because like versus Protoss, you often see that they'll just crush your natural. And then they'll set up a minefield and leave maybe 2 to 3 times just to make reinforcing very hard, and they will very rarely actually get into your main base and start killing all your tech because of that possibility that you can lock them in your main base, and then you're never gonna leave them.
I think the big difference with mech versus Zerg is that a lot of Zergs play very queen heavy, and like if you leave basically anything, if you leave like 6 tanks in a position, like all 6 are just going to get broodlinged, and you're going to lose the position immediately. And you know, bleeding units against the Zerg, against the queens, I mean, it's just like it's like the backwards of playing against the Radiate, where like energy will just gradually wear down your army in exchange just for energy.
Definitely, and I think EMP is very underused spell in TVZ when they're going for mech, and the Zerg is going for a queen heavy style. It just feels that you throw down 1 EMP on all those queens, and then the Zerg players lose the game, same as when you throw down an EMP at the clump of arbiters.
Right. So here we have Dragoon range expand, I think, and it looks like I don't want to call it too early, but maybe a siege expand from Terran.
So far, yeah, it was very standard from another two. He's going for 21 Nexus. But the thing that bothers me is I think despite Evza's effort to make this wall at the natural, Dragoons can still walk by that bunker on the right of the bunker.
Although I doubt Dragoons will try to walk by the bunker. They'll probably just hit the bunker, right?
Yeah. I don't think so. Oh! You can see that Evza is actually pumping a lot of Marines, so it might be an FD. And Evza is now adding a second
another barracks.
Yeah.
So the only you probably know better than I do. I mean, clearly some kind of push, right?
Yep. Academy, and I can tell you that Academy is probably not going to be for scans, or not only for scans.
With the mine upgrade, so this is probably like a you make a tank and then you rally vultures and then you attack move with the tank and marines.
Steam Marines and some medics.
So I really like this build. I think I'm just a big fan of any kind of bio play in TVP.
Yeah, and let's see if Evza will scout that.
So another two must know something weird here because there's, I mean, this kind of looks like a Terran Berserk game. There's so many Marines.
Yeah,
another two has to know something's up.
Yep, at this point, like another two should. Let's see if he has some response. He's throwing down a third gateway, so that is a good response.
I like that.
But yeah, I'm not sure if another two. Let's see how he'll approach that. But usually stopping that kind of push is a bit tricky, and you need to do it perfectly. And if you do it perfectly, the Terran is very behind.
Right.
Just because you don't face that sort of pushes that often, they can be extremely deadly.
Oh, what a mine though! That was.
Yeah, that's already not.
That's already devastating.
Another two. Let's see. Evzak is trying to kill that army, and he is doing a very good job so far.
I think another two just took too much damage from the mine. The one mine hit like 6 dragoons.
Yeah, well, it's always tricky going without an observer against all of these mines.
Right.
But even after taking that one mine hit, I would say that he still had a chance to turn that game around. But now, with all these Marines and medics coming across the map and only 4 guns to defend, I think another two is.
So Stim is up too, so I think this is.
Yeah, and you can see that
dry.
Definitely Andarutu does not face that build often because he's now trying to take a third base.
Right.
Which is not the correct response.
So I think Reavers are the correct response against bio push.
So it depends how early you manage to scout the bio, and in Andarutu's position, even if he went for a Robo support bay and Reavers, he would have been way too late.
I agree.
He's currently his chance was to let that first army go across the map and then have these 5 or 6 goons that he had picking off the reinforcements while having the gateway rallies and the other dragoons at the high ground trying to hold off for as long as possible. And then after he picks some rallies, he needs to sandwich the army and kill off the tanks, and then it's doable. But yeah, as I said, it's a tricky response and you don't face that build often, so...
Yeah, really cool build coming in from FC.
Yeah, and he was 1 game ahead, so I really like that mix-up.
Totally agree.
Okay, so yeah, Evza, congratulations to Evza. This game while I agree that another two left the first game earlier and he had the potential to still turn it around, this game Ezza totally played another two, and he managed to mind game and just pull off the better build. So well done, Evza. Evza's taking down the series, and we've got Passion Daddies leading 2-0 in week 4.
Yeah, well played
already. So yeah, well done to our Terran players. Seems that the team practice is paying off, and that is 2 o'clock here local time. So that will be the end of my cast because I've got some plans for the afternoon later on. But yeah, hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Again, as always, if you liked it and you have not done so yet, do give me a follow. I really appreciate that. You can always come to if you're from Passion Daddies, you can always come to the Passion Daddies Discord channel and say thanks to me and Nubness, or otherwise you can just do it on the general CPL. And that's pretty much it for me. Any closing words from you?
Pleasure casting with you again, and look forward to casting the rest of this set.
Yeah, we will see when the time for that will be. I need to check also what happened to that week 1 or week 2 game that Elsa told me about. And then I'll get back to everyone. But yes, keep an eye on the CPL Discord server. That's where we advertise our casts. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. So that's from us. Bye bye.